3, 2, 1.
Hello, hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. A good time wherever you are. Imagine this is the third episode for me in this live show, Supply Chain on Air. Before we start, as usual, I would like to know from where you are watching us and what time is it now in your country or in your location. We have our friend Ahmed Khalid. Thank you, Ahmed Khalid. Still waiting another audience. Demand planning, Ahmed Khalid is talking to us. Thank you, Ahmed, from Saudi Arabia. Okay, this is Shady Al Jackie, and you are watching Supply Chain on Air. Uh, as usual, I'm hosting supply chain experts in different fields, and our expert of today has a very strong experience in supply chain, and he is SOP global expert and E2E supply chain mentor, and he has a very unique spirit. Let's welcome our friend Mr. Ahmed El Hamamsi.
Shady, thank you so much. So happy to be with you today in your successful show Supply Chain on Air, and I watched the two episodes that you have with our friend Ahmed Khaled, and it was a great success and a lot of values in your show. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Ahmed. I'm so happy that you are with me today in my third episode. As usual, in the beginning, in a couple of minutes, could you tell us who is Ahmed Al Hamamsi? By the way, I love your story that you shared recently. It was very inspiring story.
Thank you so much, Shadi. Of course, first of all, I'm a father for a beautiful daughter. She's 5 years old, and I worked in marketing for years in FMCG company. Then I moved to supply chain. I started with demand planning, our topic today, and then S&OP management for 4 years, for 10 years maybe now working in S&OP management. And through working in S&OP management, and S&OP meetings, you get to in touch with all the departments, sales, marketing, finance, production, supply planning, and all that. And worked in FMCG and pharmaceuticals. I worked in demand and supply management globally to different markets. So yeah, that's part of my story, and of course the story that you are highlighting. That as I like to inspire or people not to give up, because in life you always face issues, you always face problems. The most important thing is that you look at the bright side. Even if you lost one job, it's not the end of the world. Or if someone tells you you're not good for that job or something, it's just an opinion of someone. This should not break your confidence in yourself. Just go, keep going, keep positive, and doors will open for you. And this is what happened through posting on LinkedIn, through meeting you guys, meeting a lot of experts here in LinkedIn, sharing knowledge and all that, and all the story that you're familiar with from posts, and of course from our friendship together.
Yes. Okay, Hamamsi, as you said, our topic of today is demand planning, and I know you have a lot of information and experience in that field. So forgive me, I'm planning to extract a lot of information that you have today.
No
Are you
problem,
ready?
no problem. Yes, for sure.
Thank
And
you.
I see a lot of people joining us from Egypt, and
Ye-
thank you guys for joining.
Mahmoud Hattab and our friend
Muhammad
Muhammad
Tolba, yes,
Tolba,
thank
yes,
you for joining us.
and Ayman Hassan also from Egypt.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our, our hero, Ahmed Khalid. Thank you,
Thank
Ahmed.
you, Ahmed Khalid.
Okay, Hamamsi, let's start as usual with a general definition of demand planning.
Demand planning, I want to go even beyond the demand planning. It's not about people maybe think it's like a desktop job or a job that can be made through statistical forecasting or through software can handle the job. No, it's not. It's beyond and over that. You should be understanding all what's happening in the economy, what's happening in your own industry, all the industrial trends. If it's the category is growing or shrinking, you should be aware about all the marketing activities, the promotions. You should know all the SKUs, which helped me when I started my demand planning. That I was working in marketing and working for 7 years in one company. So I was like memorizing everything about the SKUs, the labels, the production line. You should know also about supply, of course, the production line, the capacities, everything. You should be aware and in contact with all the departments. You should have financial understanding of the P&L. So that's demand planning, and of course, demand is it's the signals of what's happening in the market. That you should the real time data that you should be close to. You should be close to the market. It's not only about history and historical data and analyzing the 3 to 5 years historical data that you have on the system to get out with forecast. It's bigger than that. It's really bigger than that demand planning function.
And that let me point out the importance of the planning demand. As by the end, demand planning, if not playing its role correctly, I believe that there is a waste of millions through even stock out
Exactly.
or unused inventory. Uh,
Exactly.
yes, and
True.
that should be
You're
done
right.
by a good demand planner who should keep an eye on internal and external factors that could impact the demand, maybe like labor, natural disaster, weather,
Exactly.
the fluctuation in the demand itself.
Yeah, exactly. You should work on with the team in the S&OP, because usually the demand planner is managing the S&OP function in most of the organizations. So you should work on scenarios. What if scenarios, if this happen, if we
Yes,
suddenly got a big tender order, or suddenly we got what are we going to do? How are we going to supply? How are we going to respond? What's our responsiveness? That and flexibility to get this order. So it's not only about being rigid, putting like 3 months or 2 months lead time that you cannot change the orders or something. It's about everything. It's about flexibility, about detecting something like this in the market through being close to the distributors, talking to the distributors, listening to experience of people who worked in the field, being in contact with marketing and sales. You should be able to discuss with marketing and sales what's happening in the market, and they should understand all their pain points. You should understand how they are handling business. So that's why you're the focal point between demand and supply. You should understand what's happening in the factory and what's the supply chain, how they're making their production planning, and you should understand how the sales, how they're making their forecast, how they are dealing with the distributors. You should even attend the meeting with the distributors and have direct contact with the distributors demand planning team to create safety stock policy. A lot of things. We can go on discussion on demand planning
yeah, yeah.
for days.
Yes. You know, Hamamsi, before I was working as a preventive maintenance engineer, and
Yeah.
we all the time we have a plan for every shutdown, sometimes weekly, monthly, and yearly. But in the
Yes.
same time, we have to prepare a contingency plan. It's something like the demand fluctuation that you are talking about.
Yes.
Also, in the maintenance, we have something like that. We have to apply or sorry prepare a contingency plan when we have a sudden shutdown. What we should do? We have to respect the time of this unexpected shutdown and what we should do as a maintenance. What kind of spare parts I have to issue? What I should do with market demand? Do I have a stock to cover this period something like that. It's a very, very
Yes,
big
this
topic.
is very important, of course, and this is this kind of there's a critical stocks that you need to have. It's not only about ABC, about sales, about
Mhm.
like this an A product can be something like you were talking about, a maintenance product that or a spare part that you cannot find if something happens, if it's damaged, the whole production line will stop, for example. So this you must have all the time safety stock of it, regardless of sales, regardless of anything. So yeah, I can read, of course, what you're talking about.
Yes. Let's check our lovely audience. MashaAllah, we have a lot of audience today. Uh, Ahmad Khalid.
Yes,
Mm,
agile supply chain. Yes,
this is the rule of S and OP to get rid of any dysfunctional gaps. Exactly, Ahmed.
true, Ahmed.
He has a question, Ahmed Khalid. We have to read
Hmm.
it. One question. What are the main skills that are needed to have a great demand planning team? You just
Well,
told me this topic.
yeah, exactly. It's not only about that he's an expert in Excel or Power BI or expert on SAP or any kind of application or software to analyze data and analyze the gaps in the data and get out with statistical forecast or something. He must be open to change. He must be open to have high communication skills with marketing and sales and not rigid, not rigid in his mindset. He must have a growth mindset. He is willing to change. He's willing to talk to going to talk to the supply team. He's going to talk to the marketing, to finance, to sales. So you must have the knowledge, ability to have the knowledge and learn from all these people first of all, and you must also be able to upskill yourself. You must understand about all that. It's not only about having a great analytical skills or reading the historical numbers. It's as we said, it's a lot greater than that.
Yeah. Nice, Hamsi. I can add more question
Yes,
related to
please.
the same question from Ahmed Khalid.
Yes.
What kind of advices you should give it to a junior one who's going to work as a demand planner? To start with the demand plan directly, or he has to work in another department to get more experience, then to transfer to that planning.
That's a good question, Shad. Yes, you should have. But if the company, this also comes back to the company. If the company allows for job rotation, he should start with the marketing. Go with the sales, even if he's an FMCG company. Go with the cash van sales. Understand how the sales is happening at the distributor side, because this will help them a lot. This will help them a lot to understand that sales forecasting is not easy. It's not like a game of numbers. They should understand how sales team make promotions, how there is discounts happening at the distributor. What is the deal with the distributor, the CDAs, for example, how it's made, how there is safety stock at the distributor level, and how the distributors are making the safety stock, and what is the distribution planning requirements, for example, and how we are dealing with a lot of warehouses as a company. For example, it has different warehouses in different locations. So he must take job rotation not only in supply chain. I recommend marketing, sales, and he must also have understanding of some finance, because this will involve, if the demand planner always do classification for products like ABC, XYZ. He must understand what products are more profitable, how the P&L is created, and all that.
Yeah, I'm happy from your answer because I did the same. But to be honest with you, I was not planning to that. It come
Yeah.
like so. I start my career with maintenance, then production. Both of them take 4 to 5 years. Then I transfer to planning, then supply chain. I believe without this start, I would have some missing information that will impact my performance in supply
Yes,
chain.
of course, of
Yes,
course,
yes.
of course. You cannot be nowadays, especially, you cannot be like only focusing on your function. You must have understanding of what's happening in the market. You must have understanding of different functions. Everyone, I say, must deal in his position as a CEO. Must understand everything.
Yes.
This is the way to grow and to have like an entrepreneurial mindset.
Okay. I think we have to back to our lovely audience. We have a lot of questions, I think. Also, I have forecasts will never be right. The key
Yes,
is how to communicate the demand area to avoid any
exactly. To make sure
difficulties.
that
Yes, yes.
inventory is available. Right,
Yeah.
Ahmed.
We have also our friend Ayman. What is the rule of execution during planning for spare parts? Does the absence of this line in planning phase wouldn't create a gap in plan? Mm.
You are the expert in spare parts. Give us your, but I think we touched base on that. That we know we must have any spare parts that is critical. You must have safety stock of it because, as you said, this can create a disaster in the plan if you don't plan stocks for that. If you
Yes,
go on a
yes,
stock out on any critical spare part in case of a shutdown or case of any anything that happens to the line, there will be a lot of time of stoppage of the line. So you'll be losing sales opportunities. The production plan will be having a lot of problems. So I think, of course, the role of people on the ground and the execution is to highlight this to the demand planning and to have meet the demand planners to have meeting with these people to understand what are the stocks on the ground, to understand the requirements, and the demand planner also must listen to all the departments and all
yes,
the people. No opinion is wrong, especially for the people on the ground. They have a lot of experience and know what's happening on the ground and when can any problem happen. From their experience, these problems sometimes are repeated, Shadi, right? Because you worked on this, and I'm sure that some of the problems are repeated. If it's not quickly fixed, so it's repeated and create similar problems. If it's not faced on time.
yes. Let me say something regarding this question from Ayman.
Yes.
This is a small question with a very, very big answer. It needs books to answer this
Yes.
question. But if I can say something related to this issue, because I have experience in that field,
Yes.
we have many factors should be done in the beginning. Sometimes people doesn't care about bill of material. Bill of
Yes.
material is one of the secret to have a great planning, especially for spare parts.
100% perfecting the bill of material because sometimes in the company the way of calculating the bill of material or getting it wrong, so you suddenly find yourself that you don't have stocks of certain material that creates a lot of problems. I totally agree with you.
Yes, and the second thing is to have categories for your spare parts. What is should be
Yes.
under the consumables, what should be strategic, and all this categories of spare parts. The third thing is to apply MRB. Of course,
Yes.
these three points should be done through ERB system. I believe
Yes.
without ERB system, we don't have correct plan. This is a
100%,
must.
and it's also about what you feed the ERP system and how you use it. Because some companies they have the best model, but they're like you're having a Ferrari, but you're using it as a what we say as a small car or
Yes, yes,
not branded car. You have all the options,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you're not using all the options, or you are working outside the system because some people are comfortable to work outside the system on Excel sheets or something, which doesn't help. It's a waste of time. While you have all these options on ERP systems that you can perfectly measure the bomb or perfectly have the material plan, or as our friend Ahmed Khalid is talking about Kanban replenishment model. Also, this is a great point on spare parts, of course, to give signals that there is quickly if there is any issue of spare parts. Of course, this is great point, of course, from our expert friend Ahmed Khalid.
Ahmed Khan. Okay, Hamsi, I think we have a lot of questions, but I have
Yeah.
another question I have to ask you about this.
Sure, please.
Hamsi, I would like to ask you the second question of today. What are the aspects of demand planning?
As we said, the aspects of demand planning is it's beyond only creating forecasts and the historical data. Of course, you must have historical data. You must make sure to cleanse the data of any outliers, like outliers, so people don't know if it's something very low sales happened due to any shutdown or anything that happens so the sales are low or anything that happened in the market stockouts or any high peak sales that does not make sense. So you must smooth the demand curve so that you are able to make like your baseline forecast, and then you'll add to it through talking to sales and marketing or business development, depending on the organization. The inputs from the marketing will be on new products. And of course, new products you discuss with the market, like checking similar product forecasts or something like that to make sure that you have like of course it's very hard to forecast for a new product, like, but to have something that you can depend on to create and generate a rolling forecast. And from the sales, of course, all their promotional plan and all that to get to through a consensus forecast. So this is a great aspect of demand planning, of course, to create the forecast. And as we said, the market signals, we cannot only depend on the numbers. We must be very close to the distributors, what they are talking about. We must have competitive intelligence. So through market research, retail audit data, all this must be respected to check what the activities are competition doing, to know what is the room for growth for us in this category, or this category is saturated or not. The product life cycle is very important to
Yes,
understand if we're in the introduction, growth, or maturity or decline stage, because this will make you able to predict where the product will go. Of course, the product specification, the 80/20, ABC and XYZ segmentation, all this is a great aspect of demand planning.
yes, very good answer. And I can say, extract from your answers
Please, Shadi.
that the main point is to have a well understanding of the customer needs. I
Exactly.
believe this is the main point. And this is the spark
Exactly.
that will
Exactly.
change your planning.
100%. You must be very close to your consumer, understand your consumer behavior, and close to the customers. Of course, the customer service levels are very important to understand who's the important customers in order to fulfill their demand. Of course, this kind of classifications will be with the agreement with all departments. So yes, there is a lot of aspects in demand planning. Thank you
Yes,
for highlighting this, Shad. Yes.
thank you. Let's back to our lovely audience, Mustafa.
Mustafa Abdallah, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us.
S and OP main points. Yes, exactly. Our hero. Because without understanding the RTM, demand planning will lose credibility with
Exactly. You
consumers.
should understand the road to market 100%. 100%.
Yes, we have Maria. How are you, Maria?
Maria, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm searching for another question. Let's back to our questions again. Till we have another question from our lovely audience. I think Hamsi, all of us understand the difference between planning and demand and forecasting. But
Yes.
what are the main difference between demand planning and forecasting?
The main difference, as we said, the Shadi, demand planning is about looking at signals in the market and understanding the whole economy. So you understand what's happening in the economy, understand what's happening in the prices. The prices are getting high for your category, getting low. Understanding everything about the consumers, about the customers. Then we were using all that. You create what we call the unconstrained forecast with marketing and sales and different departments. Then after you pass this unconstrained forecast to the supply planning, you start to talk about the constraints in the system, whether it's batch size, whether it's constraint in capacity, all that. So demand planning is like the big umbrella that includes inside it unconstrained and constrained forecasts. As we said at the start of this episode, the demand planning is huge. It's a huge function. It's bigger than only creating a statistical forecast or or thing like that. It's about understanding the market, understanding the vision of the company, and aligning and cascading the vision down to the workers, even down in the organization.
Yes, yes. And that led me to speak about the forecast methods. I believe we have four type of forecast methods: quantitative, casual, time series, simulation. But to be
Yeah.
honest, the one who is creating the forecast or making the forecast is using a combination between four methods.
Exactly. It's a combination, always depending on the importance of the product, depending on the industry, and now it's people are depending on softwares to create this statistical forecast. But of course, as we said, you must cleanse the data. You must make sure that what the data that you're entering is clean, and master data is well established, so that you can get the right forecast. Of course, as we said, forecasts always have problem, have bias, have accuracy issues, but you're trying to make the best out of it. And of course, as you're moving, you're tweaking the forecast month by month, and that's why there is a rolling forecast. Make sure that you are dealing with accuracy issues and putting a percentage for any error in the forecast when you are creating forecasts month in month out.
Okay, okay, Hamamsi. So I can ask you another question. Can you give
Please.
us the main difference between each type of that forecast?
Yes, of course. The qualitative forecast is depending on meeting with people, like, for example, Delphi technique, things like that. It depends on experience and intuition, and it's type of forecast. We cannot ignore it. We cannot ignore experience of people, and we cannot ignore feedback from different departments like marketing and sales and all that. Then you go to quantitative. You have like it depends on the historical data. It depends on the trends in the market, the trends of the product, the classifications of the product, and there is a lot of things like moving average, as you know, depending on 3 months, moving average 6 months, or exponential smoothing, depending on trying to smooth the curve, and depending on last month forecast to create next month forecast. Of course, there is a lot of there is double exponential smoothing, triple exponential smoothing. There is seasonality, and you try to take out the seasonality and deseasonalize the graph, and to get the best out of it. Then you add the seasonal factors. So there is a lot of statistical models. There is more than 30 or 40, if you can imagine. There is the cause and effect, of course, like if you're having something that two factors that affect the forecast, so you put more than one factor to make sure that you get all the factors that affect the forecast. So you have a lot of methods of forecasting. Now, most of people, as I said, they are depending on softwares to develop that. And as you said, it's a mix of 6 to 7 methods, and the software will take the best out of it through comparing the historical data, and as we said, it's all about collaboration with teams. You must go to sales, go to marketing, discuss about this, discuss with even if you have an open book with your distributors, discuss the forecast with the distributor, like the collaborating planning, forecasting, and replenishment. When you are open with your retailers or something about forecast, this gets the best accuracy, because the more you get closer to the customer, to the consumer, the more the forecast will be accurate. It doesn't matter what forecast technique you are using.
Yes. Nice, Hamza. Thank you so much. Let's go to our lovely audience. Nihaltat is asking, could you recommend the steps or best practices of demand planning? Very good question.
Yeah, it's a great question, of course. As I said, it's depending on the industry, depending on the customer, depending on the product life cycle. As we said, it's if it's an introduction phase or maturity or decline phase. But in general, the recommended steps, of course, to check the history, as we said, of the product. You should check if you have the more the history you have, the more you can depict the trend of for the product, like 3 to 5 years. Cleansing the data, you must make sure that you remove the outliers. You must make sure that you have if you have for some products you're close to the getting the data close to the customers, of course, like through handheld systems or through getting data from the customers forecast, from the customer collaboration of the customers, big customers, for example, of FMCG like Carrefour, like something. Collaboration with the team, with marketing and sales, getting from them on time their plans, their marketing spend, what are the introductions, the new product introductions, the promotions, all this kind of clarity and communication collaboration. These are the best practice and get the best result, as I said, regardless of the statistical forecasting model that you are using.
Yes, very good one. I would like to focus on one point, please, if you accept, Hans.
Sure, sure.
Related to the data collecting, gathering the data. I
Data
believe data.
gathering and collection,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. I believe data like such as lead time, consumption, inventory, transactions, all,
100%.
all type of transactions are giving a clear picture that provide us
Yes,
the weakness before the strength. Then
yes.
it support us to improve our plan. So I believe this point is very
Yes, yes,
important.
100%. You must be understanding of the safety stock levels
Yes,
at your warehouse and at the different distribution centers. There is a lot of information you need to be aware of to create a good forecast and demand plan.
yes. I would like also to add 2 points. One in the beginning, which is customer satisfaction level that come from the top management, and also
Yes,
monitoring the process. If you don't
yes,
monitor the process, you will
exactly.
have a disaster. So you
Yes,
have
yes, you should
like
monitor the
with
process and work on tweaking the process because forecast, as we know, it's always wrong. You can never get a perfect forecast. So
of
you,
course.
as you're moving, you're tweaking the process. You are working on prioritizing based on the importance with finance, the importance of the products which is more profitable. You're prioritize it. Product which is getting higher sales, you're going to prioritizing customers who have high effect on your sales. You are going to prioritize it. So it's also about trade-offs and what orders you should prioritize and who you should prioritize their sales forecast.
Exactly. Again, I have to back to our lovely audience. We have our hero, Ahmed Khaled. How can we improve the accuracy of forecast? He's always asking for tricky questions.
Yes, of course. And you highlighted this now by
We
always monitoring
monitoring,
the
yes.
data and classification of products, of course, on ABC analysis, 80/20 classification on XYZ based on the trend of the forecast. Is the forecast going up, down like this? These are hard products to forecast. So you put and you put targets for each classification. For A, you must hit certain degree based on the industry. Some will put plus minus 10%, for example. For B, you put plus minus 30. For C or something, you'll not focus because this is not the profit area. But you will put like plus minus 40 maybe or something. So you put classification with a prioritization based on geographical area, based on distribution center, and of course based on the product and category. And monitor, as you said, month in, month out, the results, and you start tweaking and you start to get good results. Once, from experience, once I focus on the 80/20 and try to improve it, this it will improve the forecast accuracy
You
great.
You are
in a
talking
great
about
way.
a topic I love so much, 80/20.
Yes.
I believe in
It's
that.
a rule of life, Shadi. In
Yes, yes,
anything,
in
you can
everything.
apply the
Yeah, yeah.
80/20 in everything in life, and it never fails.
I would like to give you an example. It's a funny example. If you have a meeting with 10 persons, you will find two persons are having or leading the meeting, and the eight persons are only just
Yes.
listening. Maybe they doesn't
Listeners.
add.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Correct.
The same. Everything could be applied through 80/20. Maria,
Thank you, sir.
good fortune is what happened when opportunity meets with planning. Thomas
Yeah,
Edison.
it's a great.
Yes,
That's a
yes,
great quote from Thomas Edison. Thank
yes,
you,
yes.
Maria, for adding this.
Ahmed
Yes.
Khalid, I don't
Yes.
understand what he's saying.
He's
Is
saying
it?
a great quote from Maria. Yeah, it's a great
But
quote. Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
that's Maria full name.
sorry, sorry, sorry. It's her name. Sorry, sorry. I
Yes.
think that he's writing something in another language. Okay,
Oh.
Hamamsi, I don't think we have more questions in the comments.
Yeah, if we have any
I,
question from the comments, I see a good comment from Mustafa. I mean, analyzing social media data is very
it's
important
very
in
important. Yes, exactly.
100%.
I'm
This
sorry,
is the
Mustafa.
trend now. You must also this I must add. I forgot to actually thank you, Mustafa, for talking about that. This is very important, and it will come this from marketing, influencer marketing now, and all that. Influencers can make your sales jump and can make your sales drop down. So you must, if you are associating your brand with a certain influencer, this can really generate traffic on your website and generate traffic on selling your products. And people are using that now regularly to have an effect on the demand. So it can have really effect on positive effect on the demand of of your product. So of course, being active on social media and selling your product through social media by different kind of messages, like by kind of not direct messages about your product, maybe how it serves for wellness, how it serves for health, not like putting a promotion, direct sales for the customer of something. All this kind of messaging and the social media planning highly affect the demand. So great comment from Mustafa Abdullah. Thank you so much.
Yes, Hamsi, you are an expert. Can I ask you a question?
Please.
Applying product mix, is it one of
Yes.
the solution to sell the
100%
market share?
fine.
Yes.
Product mix, yes, of course, it affects the market share, and it affects, and this product mix sometimes, as Ahmed Khalid is talking about the P&L here, the major role of demand planning. Yes, it's about the product mix, and you must talk with finance, and you must talk with the supply team on that. What is the mix of product that is smooth on the line, and you talk to finance. What's the mix of products that makes the highest profitability? And this is what you should focus on, getting the highest accuracy on the plan, so that you hit your targets, you hit your budget, and you hit your targets on forecasting, and have improve your forecast accuracy. So it's a great question from for Ahmed Khalid. We must understand the P&L, or what are the products that get us the high margins, and focus on getting the best forecast on these products and these categories.
Yes, yes. So if I would summarize this episode of today, I it's alarmed in my head. The good demand planner who is dealing with the big demand and gain as much as he can to cover the low demand, to cover his revenues. I think this is
Yes, it is the main role, of course, of demand planning. Effective replenishment. Make sure that we don't go out of stock or overstock in products. You are the like the police, and that you make sure
yeah,
that sales are not over forecasting or over promising. Make sure that also, and some companies that I worked with, I try to help the supply by giving them orders in batches, to make sure that also that sales understand this, that they give assorted orders and compile the orders that it covers the batch size. This helps a lot our friends in supply planning. So yes, you can give and let the marketing and sales dream and give unconstrained forecast, but you must also define some constraints that you cannot overcome, and it really holds back a lot of sales opportunities.
Yes, Hamoud, I have another question. It come to my
Yes,
mind,
please.
especially
Yes,
in the industries that are working make to stock.
yes,
The stoppage of the production line means losses, more losses.
yes,
So
yes.
if the demand now is very low, what should we do?
If the demand of very low now is very low, it depends also if this going to continue. You must be, as we said, you're aware of the economy. You must be aware of what's happening in the market. Maybe now it's very low. Maybe in few months it will go back to normal. So that's when you have to stock and you have to create some stocks, and you have
What
to
if we
go
have
at,
a blockage? What if we
and
have
you
a blockage in the warehouse?
blockage in the warehouse. You mean in the stocks there is no space to.
Yes, to stock
Uh,
your finished product.
Sometimes you can take risk or deal or talk to the distributors to stock some with them. Sometimes you have to go on with deals to try to reduce the stocks on the market. So you have to reduce the losses, of course, because this blockage, of course, you will get a lot of expiries. So you must go and talk to the distributors, and you must try to sell on promotions to avoid, because at the end of the day you don't want to destruct the products. You can sell with very low margin instead of destructing the products. So you can sell with low margin to remove this blockage, and then you start. If you see an opportunity in the market opening soon for some product, you start to stock with the right product instead of having a blockage. For example, maybe your this blockage from the slow moving items, you start to stock to destock from the slow moving items by selling them with very low margin and stock with the high margin products.
Yes,
So
yes,
this
yes.
is my advice. Good question, Shady.
I'm asking because I have a case study,
Yeah.
and I will tell you what we did in that time. The sales team were highlighting we have a low demand. People, production,
Okay.
please, we have a low demand. They are highlighting, and the inventory management saying we don't have a space. We don't have a space. So we have to make a calculation. Then the first action we took is to reduce our production, because as I told you, the stoppage of the production line is affecting more and costing more than still producing. So in that time,
Yes.
we have a calculation. We made a calculation and we took an action to reduce our production for I think 2 months. After that,
Okay.
we reached to the point of the blockage of the warehouse.
Hmm.
So we were having two options: even to stop the production line or to find somewhere to store our product. Then we start
Yes.
searching to rent warehouse, and that's what we did.
Yes.
We rent a warehouse near from our plant, and we start to transfer the items, sorry, the finished product in
Still,
the.
of course, it's loss, ya Shadi, because you're paying rent, you're paying fixed costs, you're paying electricity, you're paying so renting another warehouse. But you have to take sometimes you have to take this risk for a while till the market stabilize again and the products move. But as I told you, as the time is counting and there is shelf life for the products, you must start to move and think of ideas how to sell this products out
Yes,
through
before
any
that,
channels. And this is the role of the sales team. They can go to a market that accepts low shelf life products. They can go to a channel that accepts low shelf life product like any discounters, anything like that.
yes, yes, but let me tell you something that this finished product has no expiry date. It
Yeah.
has a long life item.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
That's good. That's
but
good.
at the same time, I remember that another department like HR take a chance for this point. They send a message or email to all department managers. Please
Mm.
give your team vacations. We have a high balance of vacations. Give your team a vacation, and
Ah,
then they started also training. Really, it was
good.
a very good action from HR in that time.
That's good,
Uh,
of course.
Yes, and after I think I remember for 6 or 7 months, the demand starts again, and it gave us a chance to sell as much as we can. We were having a lot of stock. I remember we have a number, very high stock
Huge.
at that time. Yes, and we sold everything that time.
Yes, of course, it's good that you have this flexibility and the product has shelf life, high shelf life, so that you can able to move and maneuver. And it's really a good move from HR to train their staff on that.
Yes, Ahmed Khalid adding some comments. I believe that you
Yes,
have to look into the SKUs levels at this moment, and he is giving an answers.
yes,
And check the
criticality of
credibility of
SKUs.
SKUs. Maybe there are some impounds needed to the warehouse, so you have to utilize it. Exactly. Also, two options from outbound.
Yes,
Renting, as I said, renting a team
yeah,
warehouse. Yes, that's what we did. Managing
yes,
the phasing of orders inside month. It's all
yes.
about
Cost
cost
versus benefit
versus yes,
analysis,
exactly,
exactly, and trade-offs, hundred
exactly.
percent, hundred
Should
percent.
be man. Yes, Ahmed Khalid is an expert.
Of course,
Yes,
great friend and an expert.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah, sure. Honestly, I'm so happy. Uh, if I'm telling you honestly, I have a lot of questions. But we need to stay maybe more than 3 4 hours. And I know now the time in your country is 12, almost 12.
yeah, it's almost 12,
Yeah,
but
you
of
have to sleep. I
course,
know.
of course, we can always have different sessions and together, and you have also great experience in supply chain,
Okay.
and one day you will
Time
be
out.
my guest.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I will take a promise from you now. We will have another episode with you regarding
Of
this topic.
course, of course,
Yeah.
definitely,
Okay. I take a promise in
definitely,
front of all. You will not lie.
definitely, Shadi. It's my honor and my pleasure always.
It's really my pleasure, Hamsi. I'm really so happy. I gained a lot of from your information and experience, and I have nothing to say. Hamsi, you add a lot of knowledge to me for
Thank you,
me, and
Shadi. Thank
I'm
you.
so happy to talk with you and I have this episode with you. And خلاص, we agreed that we will have another topic. We will say it
Inshallah.
under demand planning too.
Yes. Inshallah, we'll have another discussion, of course, and it's always a pleasure to see you and talk to you on this interesting topic of demand planning. And
Thank you.
thank you, of course, everybody for joining us. Yeah,
Thank you, Hamsi. Thank you for our lovely audience. And stay tuned for a coming episode coming Tuesday, inshallah, with another
inshallah.
supply chain expert. Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you,
bye.
thank you so much, thank you so much, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Take care.